We'll do a Ganpati Stotram. Okay. And we can also, maybe we'll just do a Ganpati Stotram. Okay. So the ones who know can repeat after me. The ones who don't know will obviously repeat after me. Okay. Om Shuklam Varadharam Vishnum
Shuklam Varadharam
Vishnu
Shashivarnam
Shashivarnam
Chaturbhujam
Chaturbhujam
Prasannavadanam Dhyayet
Prasannavadhyaya
Sarva Vignopashantaye
Sarvavignopasantaye
Sada Shiva Samarambham
Sadashivasamaram
Shankaracharya Madhyamam
Shankaracharya Madhyamam
Asmadacharya
Asmadacharya
Paryantam
Paryantam
Vande Guru Paramparam.
Vande Guru Paramparam.
Wonderful. The topic for today is discovering emotional balance. I've sent a presentation to Unnati, which I will be referring to. Unnati, do you have it on your screen?
Yes, I have it. Do you want me to show it now?
Yeah, can we start?
Yes.
So one thing I want to say about emotional balance, okay, a lot of us, we struggle with emotion. Not the ones like joy or excitement, anticipation, happiness, etc., etc. The ones we struggle with are really, disgust, irritation, anger, helplessness, sorrow, and stuff like that. So what I want to focus on in today's session is to discover what we have in terms of emotional balance. And I want to establish the connection between our thinking and our feeling. And this session is a lot to do with adhikaritvam. It has a lot to do with my preparedness for Vedanta. So for a Vedanta class, I will focus more on Shravana, right? That is the sadhana. That is the means, that is the discipline. That I allow myself to go with the words of the Shastra when the Guru or the teacher teaches. With respect to things to be done with adhikaritvam, things have to be done. Okay? So one cannot just listen about what needs to be done to take care of the mind, take care of the person, and say, ho jayega, it will be done. Okay? So things that need to be done have to be done. They cannot be listened to and assume that magically changes will happen. So it doesn't work like that. When one listens to Vedanta Shastra, one is fully present and goes with the words of the Shastra. There nothing has to be done. Whatever has to be done has to be done by the Guru. Okay. So having said that, we are now ready to share the screen regarding the presentation.
Yeah, just let me know if everyone can see. Can everyone see?
No, I cannot see anything.
I guess we'll have to choose Unnati.
Okay, yeah.
Only then you
Yeah, you can maybe have this to be shared with everybody. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, I guess now you can see.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. So now I want to just, we can go down, we can go to the first slide. Okay, so these are emoticons that all of us use, and I want to just ask any of you, first come first serve, first come first serve basis. You pick up any emotion that you see there, and I want you to complete the sentence that I feel dashed, meaning that you complete the sentence with the first thought that comes to your mind. Okay, so anybody
I
can
want
go
to
for this.
go first. I
Okay,
want to go first. This is Shan.
yes, Shalini.
That aggressive.
Yes.
I get so aggressive when I'm in the conversation, and if somebody gets into this negative thought, like a negative argument for someone, I get really aggressive during the conversation, and
So,
sometimes I get carried away.
right. Okay. So aggressive meaning hands and legs and speech.
No,
Yeah. Only speech.
basically for the age we are in, it's mostly speech, not hands.
Okay. Okay. Somebody else? Can somebody also share some other emotion?
I would like to go. Nitya here.
Yes. Yes.
I'm anxious to learn more.
Yes. Okay.
So this is my state of mind now. So anxious.
Okay. Okay. So to learn, we need to be relaxed. Anxiety and relaxation, they don't go together. This is very interesting, the beauty of the human
Okay.
body. So the
Okay.
sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system, one cannot be anxious and one cannot be relaxed at the same time. You are either anxious or you are either relaxed. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
in time everything will unfold. So we take it one slide at a time, one moment at a time. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Any other person?
This is Samya here.
Yes.
Right now, I'm feeling very happy. I just had my pizza and
Okay.
attending this session. So right now, I'm very happy.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So now all three of you have shared what you are feeling in relation to a situation. The situation may have been a pizza. The situation may have been to do with learning. The situation may have to do with the person in front of me who doesn't understand what I need from him or her. So I become aggressive. Okay. So what I feel is generally related to the situation is what most of us believe. Yeah. Now I'm going to dispel that myth. Okay. And we'll go to the next slide. Okay. So now this whole thing about emotional balance. Yeah. We can achieve emotional balance only if we are objective. And for those who are exposed to a little bit of Vedanta will recognize that what I'm really referring to is Viveka. Okay. So before I do Nitya Vastu Viveka, before I discriminate or I'm objective to what is absolutely real and what is temporarily present, what is permanent, what is temporary, I need to be objective to facts, situations, people around me. Okay. So therefore, what we want to establish in today's session is that emotional balance can happen only if there is objectivity. So we want to work on that objectivity. Okay. So we can go to the next slide. So I want you all to look at that visual. Okay. So this lady, she's trying to work herself up into saying that I'm not upset, I'm not upset, I'm not upset. I mean, her body language clearly shows that she is upset. Okay. A lot of the times, what we do is we try, because emotions are a problem, like we don't know how to manage them, they manage us. And so we try to fight the feeling, we try to fight the emotion. And if we have that kind of an orientation, then whatever we understand in Vedanta, so suppose if I'm very angry, so I will also turn the knowledge of Vedanta against myself. Oh, according to Vedanta, I am not supposed to be angry. Some people may conclude like that. So what we want, we use knowledge to help us. We don't use knowledge to turn against us. Okay? So one thing we have to understand very, very clearly is that you cannot fight a feeling. Okay? No matter what you do, it will surface in some way or the other. And the reason we are doing it is because obviously we are so threatened by the intensity. So we try and push it away, we try and ignore it, etc., etc. It doesn't work. Okay? So now an example. If your son, this example might not apply to everybody, but assuming that in India particularly, if your son is in the 10th standard and he shows you his first unit test reports, suppose he has failed in 2 subjects, then most mothers, or even for that matter fathers, will experience panic. Oh my God, what's going to happen to him, etc., etc. After the 10th, it's so competitive, and will he really get into a good college? And what have I done? I have failed as a parent, etc., etc. So there are a lot of emotions that I am experiencing, and I am thinking that it is because of the situation, but it is not so. We can go to the next slide. So now we want to remember that in every situation there are certain needs that are being met or not being met. Generally, most individuals, and I believe I spoke about this in the first or the second session, universally we all have certain needs. Okay? So we have a need for power and achievement, we have a need for love and belonging, connectedness. We also have a need for independence, we have a need for fun, and several things like that in addition to physical needs. When these needs are not met, we get really upset. And so if somebody is being disrespectful to me, I need respect from that person, I need that person to be respectful to me. Because I am being respectful to that person, but if it's not happening, then I get very upset. So we want to see the connection that, the way we think about a situation really contributes to what we feel. See, suppose if somebody is being disrespectful to me, and I have a high need for respect, or even a very minimal need for respect, let's say, at a very human level, I expect to be treated with respect because I treat other people with respect. So suppose somebody is behaving disrespectfully, rather than go into a whole conversation in my head, oh, what does he or she think about himself or herself? How dare this person do this to me, etc., etc. I can request the person in terms of I would request you to do or to say this, that, the other, whatever it is. It is still the person's prerogative to behave respectfully or not. But I can take care of where I am in the situation. Rather than go into this very dramatic response in my head, that, oh, how could this person do this to me, etc., etc. And so, although we think that it is the events that are contributing to our emotions, really speaking, it is our beliefs. And we find that every day we are facing a series of situations. From the time you wake up in the morning, so on and so forth, till you sleep in the night, series of situations. And series of situations means series of stimuli. And a lot of these situations demand a certain response from me. Ignoring it is also a response, whatever be the situation. And so therefore, for me to respond effectively, or what is referred to as Kaushalam in the Gita, I have to make effective choices. My effective choices will depend a lot on my beliefs. Okay, my beliefs, my notions, my understanding about myself, people around me, life in general, even for that matter, God, Ishvara. So if I think that, Ishvara is giving me a very raw deal, then because I have certain beliefs, therefore I feel very let down by Ishvara, if that is the case. So let's explore this a little bit more. We can go to the next slide. Okay, now I want to introduce two terms. Perhaps some of you have heard this already. There is so the world that we live in, okay, I know that I have not created gravity. I know I have not created the five elements. The things that I see around me, I have not created it. It is, and neither has my family created, nor has Narendra Modi created it. These things are given to me. They are what we are referring to as Ishvara Srishti, as God's world or the world we live in. Okay. So now what is Ishvara Srishti or God's world in that sense? Becomes my field of experience, which we are calling Jiva Srishti. So the world that I live in, I experience it differently. Okay. So now, before this advertising company, De Beers, before they did all that marketing about diamonds and diamonds being a woman's best friend, really speaking, a diamond is a stone. Okay. Now, because of this crazy marketing, the association that diamonds being a woman's best friend, okay, and so therefore the whole value around exclusivity, around it being a symbol of togetherness, it being a symbol of valuing the other person, all of that is what we can refer to as Jiva Srishti. Okay, Ishvara Srishti, there are diamonds in this world, and they are stones like any other stone. Okay, another form of carbon actually. But the extra value I attach to the diamond is my Jiva Srishti. I am giving it through my own language, through the advertising, through my beliefs. Oh, he or she gave me a really tiny diamond, or he gave me such a big diamond, maybe I am special. Okay, so that is my evaluative belief and my meaning, the meaning that I attach to the diamond, or in this case, the world, God, and ourselves. So now if I check with y'all, what is it that you can see in the visual of this slide?
The tree.
Okay. Any other replies?
It's like a web or jungle of filled like with so many trees.
Yes, yes,
It's like a
yes,
tiger's face.
yes. Okay. So, this is like a perceptual trick. So it's got the trees and it also has the visual of a tiger. Okay. So the Jiva Srishti here, I mean the Ishvara Srishti is really the trees. But what I am seeing here, because of the way in which this visual is, I see a tiger. Okay. The trees that were a part of Ishvara Srishti create a lot of fear in me because I'm seeing a tiger. And unless I am one of those wildlife enthusiasts, who would like to spend time in places like Jim Corbett, or what what are, would like to be on safari, even then the tiger is coming to me, it causes fear. So I don't like it. So the same trees are causing fear in me because I am projecting or I am seeing a tiger. And a lot of the times, if we are looking at our life day to day, the way in which we respond to situations, our beliefs underlie our responses. And our beliefs are what are contributing to Jiva Srishti, or that I live in my own world. So all of us may say, no, no, we are very rational people, we are very objective people, and I don't agree with you, and that's fine. Still, if I am getting upset, if I am not happy with the way my life is going, if I get disappointed easily, then it looks like I am living in my world, or what we are referring to as Jiva Srishti. So therefore, is there any way out? The way out is to harmonize what is my world with the world that I confront, with the world which is real as it appears to me. And what I find is, over a period of time, the more objective I can be, I am in harmony with the world. When I'm saying the world, I mean the people around me, I mean the situations that I am facing, and also myself. So sometimes we may be a bit too harsh on ourselves. So that again is our Jiva Srishti. It is our own subjectivity that is coloring what I really am. Yeah. So this is very, very important to understand, that we want to try and live in Ishvara Srishti, in the world as we know it, as we understand it, and try and minimize our subjectivity, which we have a lot of power to deal with. Okay, we can go to the next one. So now I want to, borrow a leaf from modern psychology here. Okay. Um, what I'm trying to do here, I must share this. Many years ago, when I was practicing as a psychologist, we one of the things we would ask the patients would be questions related to reality. So it was, so the good word that we used that time was reality orientation. Okay. So this was, so what were the kind of questions we would ask to see, how oriented the person is to reality? What time is it? What day is it? What is your name? Who are you related to, etc., etc. To determine if the person is in the world, and therefore we go on to looking at what is a diagnosis, or uh, or the person, so from the responses of the person, one would figure out how so-called normal he or she was. What we're going to try and do in this session is to develop this reality orientation. Okay, so as a part of that reality orientation, there's a certain theory about it. So what is a theory? It's kind of simple. So we think that there is an aggressive person, and how dare he speak to me like that? So I'm very upset, and because I'm very upset because he is aggressive. Okay, so on the face of it, A, which is the activating event, has led to me being upset. So it is all the aggressive person's fault, no question about it. Yeah. But if I think more, it will be a lot of my self-talk, a lot of my beliefs related to this so-called aggressive person. What kind of beliefs do you think may come up? Anybody? How dare he be aggressive with me? I have been so nice. And is this the way to talk to a lady, or whatever it is? What else?
But sorry to interrupt. Sometimes it's like both sides are aggressive, right?
Yes, both
Like
sides are
on
aggressive.
same topic, right?
Yes.
Like for example, I wanted to give, because it happened so recently with me. Like on Friday night, we were all the friends having a dinner, and after that, we started talking about this. Uh, course we did like art of living, and
Uh-huh.
we all were like explaining like how I'm feeling. My breath is like very smooth and I'm feeling calm. And then he started, the other person, he's a very nice person, we are not saying that he's bad or not, but he's like,
Right.
oh, they all are bad or fake, we don't need it, kind of thing. I mean, all negative sort of things. So
Okay.
we got into the argument. So that made me aggressive, and he was also aggressive because he had his own belief, I have my own belief, right? So
Yes.
those belief system, they like collide with each other.
Right.
So
Give
I
me an
was like,
example.
okay,
Give me an example of your belief system in the context of this argument.
like he was saying all the babas are bad or something like that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I was like, okay, I was saying, okay, how? And he's like,
Ah,
he did this. I said, okay, why are you saying that? I mean, do you have something like to support that? And
right.
he's like, oh, he's a businessman. I said, okay, then what's wrong in that? Like, we're talking about Baba Ramdev. I know, I mean, everybody has different feeling and different perception or point of view towards him.
Yes.
Like, he's like, he's Baba, he's business, he's politician. I said, what's wrong in that? I mean, where is it written that rishis or sadhus cannot do business? If he's
Right.
doing serving the humanity, what is wrong in that? It is like nowhere written in shastras that rishis or babas or sadhus cannot do business. So I
Right.
mean, that was like an argument, and it turned up like I was like, okay, so what? What's wrong in that? What's wrong in that? And he was like, it's wrong. Then I said like, he said like freedom of expression. I said, okay, then explain me what is freedom of expression. It's like I
Right.
don't have to explain you. I said like, but what I feel is like freedom of expression comes with a responsibility. It
Yes.
doesn't mean that if you don't like it, you can say, oh Shalini, I don't like you. I want to slap you or abuse you because I just don't like it. I mean, that is not freedom of expression. It
Yes.
comes with a responsibility,
Right.
right? So, and that made both of us so aggressive. Like we
Okay.
both are
So,
like stick to our
Shalini, let
place.
me just check with you. At the end of the conversation, how are you feeling?
We both ended up like, okay, we need to stop it. I
Right.
mean, in the beginning, it feels like, oh, you have to win, you have to win. But at
Yes.
the end of the day, like, then we ended up saying that, and we were okay after that. Okay, let's leave it. But then next day, I asked his wife, like, we are very good friends. I
Right.
said, hey, Charul, you didn't feel bad when me and Pranav were having this argument.
Yes.
Um, and I apologize if you feel bad. I'm sorry.
Right.
But then later I said like, okay, it's too much. I
Yeah.
felt like it's too much. We should not get into that.
Okay. So now during the conversation, or rather the argument, the discussion,
Hmm.
what were the various emotions you experienced? Because you found yourself being aggressive. What
Uh-huh.
else?
I was annoyed
Okay. Because,
because like he the way I am feeling, of course he has his own view, but the way I was feeling is like he is just saying for the sake of saying or just to win thing. He
right,
was not putting like a proper discussion, and I told him like there is a difference between tark and kutark,
right,
and
right.
what you are doing is kutark.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that I was a bit annoyed.
Right. So now, is it something that you would like to change next time in an argument?
Mhm.
Now, in this argument, you ended up feeling really annoyed, and then later on, you all decided to stop the argument because you all found both
Yes.
getting quite aggressive.
Yes.
So, one of the things, one of the reasons why you felt really annoyed, and this can happen to all of us, is that you believed that he was arguing perhaps for the heck of it. He was generalizing all Babas as frauds. or all Babas as only, uh, in this spiritual uh, path, guiding others to make money, or they are pure business people. And what annoyed you was his belief actually, and you believe that all Babas are not like that. Is that
Exactly.
correct? And
Yes.
you also recognize that maybe some of them may be like that, but it is
Yes.
not
Yes.
fair to label all Babas, all sadhus as frauds or as business people. Yeah.
Yes.
So, uh, so I want us to recognize that it's really the beliefs that were in conflict. On
Right.
the face of it, it's just an argument. We have all kinds of arguments, so no big deal about it. But because the beliefs were, and I hold on to my beliefs, see, because it's my belief, so therefore it's something I have nurtured over a period of time. I may have a lot of logic to back up my belief, but my belief is my belief. And so,
Right.
as to the extent that he held on to his belief that Baba Ramdev is a businessman, you held on to your belief saying that all Babas are not like that, or it's not fair to call Baba Ramdev just a businessman, he is also doing some good. Okay.
Right.
So now, if in the next conversation or argument, suppose you would like to discuss, at the same time not get too annoyed or aggressive, what
Right.
can you do differently?
Yes. That's what I want to learn.
Okay. So now what we want to, uh, first of all, are we able to see the link between the fact that it is my beliefs that is causing the emotion and not really the event that causes the emotion? Are we able to see that?
Mm-hmm.
All of us?
Yeah, but Swamiji, what if there are some facts and people are not ready to accept those facts? There were some cases where I had argument with people related to vegetarianism.
Yes.
So, so when they, when they claim that eggs are a part of being veg,
Right.
so then it's it's not a belief. They
Yeah.
believe definitely, but then there is a fact also associated to it. So
Right.
then when you find yourself in such an argument, then it's really irritating and annoying.
Yes.
Really
Yes.
debunk that.
Right. And so here we want to remind ourselves that we really can't change the world. Okay? So, so you can't, I mean, even to try and change your body weight, okay? It is a struggle. Huh?
Right.
Even a mother who carries a baby in her womb for 9 months, if she tries to control her baby, it doesn't happen. She wants the baby to eat properly, doesn't happen. Yeah, she wants the baby to sleep at a certain time, it doesn't happen. So when one is not even able to control a little infant, and one may say, oh, my own child, etc., etc., then all we can do is present facts. If we think, see, because for us, we may say, oh, the logic is so compelling. Sorry, the logic is so compelling, that eggs are non-vegetarian, that for us it is easy to have made the decision and to continue with being vegetarian. But for some people, they may choose to be selective about facts. So what we can do is we can present facts, but people still have the right to change or not. It is like these riddles. So how many psychologists does it take to change a light bulb? So give me an answer. Or how many gurus does it take to change a light bulb?
Sometimes, if you're ready and open, just one click is okay. One guru
Yeah.
is okay.
So so the answer, and this is on a lighter note, that in response to how many psychologists does it take to change a light bulb, that the light bulb must want to change. Only then the psychologist or anybody can do anything about it. So likewise in this argument, that I am getting annoyed because people are not seeing the logic of my argument. They are not seeing the logic of the facts I'm presenting before the table. I don't like it, and therefore I get very, very upset. Okay?
Uh, I also want to
Yes.
add another emotion here. Say fear.
Yes.
Fear because we lose confidence, or there's a conflict of emotions that is happening.
Right.
So
And
that
also, I want, yeah, go, sorry.
So explain that conflict of emotion happening in what sense? Soumya?
Um,
Yeah.
it's more related to the kind of bullying attitude from them, and
Right.
hence the fear.
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
yes. And also, I want to add one more dimension to it. It's like um, that kind of like ego also comes there, because there are so many people sitting when you are having that discussion, and you feel like, oh my God, people will think what they will think. I am not good, or I'm just losing it. So that fear, what Soumya Energy added is a fear. Yes, and there is ego factor also
Yes.
added to that, I guess.
Yes, yes. So very rightly identified. Yeah. So we want to just look at some errors that we make in our thinking because our commitment is to objectivity. Yeah. We find that the more objective we are to Ishvara Srishti, we find that uh, these emotions, they don't disturb us. Okay. I can have the emotion and it's no problem. I can still deal with it. I can manage it. Okay, so hold on until I talk a little bit about these errors and then we can discuss in greater detail. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. So here, so again, this is just elaborating the same thing that the event may be that I have failed in something, but I'm upset a great deal. And on the face of it, it's just an event. I didn't get the marks that I wanted, or maybe I must have studied very hard for it. But look at the emotional buildup. How could I do it? I can't do even one thing right. I am so stupid. I'll never make it. This is all a build up. And the more I think about it along these lines, along these beliefs, I get upset. So the only way to manage my emotion is to be more objective. How can I be more objective? When I change the beliefs about myself. The beliefs need to be based on reality. So I'm not here trying to work myself into a frenzy of positivity. I focus on the reality that perhaps I did not work enough for this exam, or I worked very hard, I did my best, maybe the paper needs to go in for re-evaluation. So there are many, many options to consider rather than immediately jumping to blaming myself or blaming the other person. We can go to the next slide. So what we want to do is the various beliefs that are contributing to being upset, being frustrated. I want to actually challenge it a little bit. Okay. So I want to find out, these beliefs of mine, are they true? Are they healthy for me to hold on to these beliefs? Are they helpful? Are they realistic? Are they logical? This will be more clear when we look at an example. Yeah, we can go to the next. So now there are, our basic problem, if at all, okay, the fundamental human problem is that I think of myself as a limited human being, okay, limited mind body sense complex. Now, this fundamental assumption about myself actually branches out into hundreds of other assumptions about myself, about the people around me, and about the world. And so, we want to correct these errors in our understanding of the world, what we are referring to as Jiva Srishti. So there are about 10, more than 10 such errors we make with respect to ourselves, with respect to other people, could be family, could be friends, could be other relatives, the community, and errors also with respect to God and life in general, how life ought to be or should be. So let's take the first one. Now, after this argument, with was it Charul? No.
Pranav. I mean, Charul is the
The
wife, and
yes,
she's
yes,
my best friend.
right. So now, if we just go along with that example, um, if you still want to talk to him, if you'll talk as if nothing has happened, then
Uh-huh.
that's great. Okay.
Yes, yes.
But some of us may actually say that, he argued with me and he has such wrong notions and he is so biased about sadhus. And he's so biased about sadhus, I don't want to talk to him anymore. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of us could respond to him in that way. And what we have really done is we have committed the error of filtering. We have taken the negative details that I did not like, being put down in an argument. And there may be many other positive aspects about him, but I choose to ignore it. So therefore I am living now back in my own world, Jiva Srishti. I'm no longer living in Ishvara Srishti. And therefore, and then I will also justify it. So I will filter. Okay. I will only focus on his negative traits and uh, I will behave as if he doesn't have any positive traits, any positive characteristics. We also do that with ourselves. Okay. So either we are so wonderful that nobody is as wonderful as us, or we have all the faults in the world and everybody else is okay. Okay. So any which way, it is an error, it's a cognitive error, and it needs to be corrected by focusing on facts. Sometimes what happens with people exposed to Vedanta, because we are doing dosha darshanam, we are, discovering the limitations of people, of situations, of our life, of our pursuits. In discovering limitations, we tend to be critical. Okay. And if one is not vigilant, then one will become critical of anybody and everybody, including gurus. This guru doesn't know that. That guru doesn't know this. And so the people around me also, poor things, they are not studying Vedanta. So poor things are suffering. So stuff like that. So here again, there is a difference in being objective and there is a between being critical and being objective. And as Vedanta students, we want to be very, very vigilant about it, because if wherever that you hear any kind of criticism, the criticism will only be with respect to an ideology. It will not be, if it is a traditional guru, it will not be with respect to the person. Okay? So because of a certain ideology, certain things that are not based on the Shastra, we may argue. It is not to put the other person down. And so therefore, just because I'm studying Vedanta doesn't mean that I filter out facts. Okay? So this is one error. The other one is what we call black and white thinking. Okay, so because we want to make sense of our life, we find it easy to categorize people. Okay, so we may say, oh, we must not be judgmental, etc., etc. We find ourselves doing that. And with respect to objects, it's okay to categorize. With respect to knowledge, except for Brahma Vidya, it is okay to categorize. Why? Because the mind learns something new based on old knowledge. So I cannot learn 2 plus 2 is 4 unless I know all the numerals from 1 to 4. So I have to go through a certain series of steps. And therefore, there is a tendency for all of us to put things into categories. But we struggle when we put people into categories. And especially that, okay, now suppose if I have this polarized thinking, then I will say, okay, Pranav is a bad man. Okay, not Gulshan Grover, Hindi film industry, who claims to be the original bad man. So here, that, because he does this, so I cannot think of him that, okay, he has other pleasant traits or whatever it is, because I like to take a stand. So in the name of taking a stand, in the name of taking a position, I'll say either he's good or he's bad. There are no in between shades. So this is also an error in our thinking. Let's move ahead to the next one. This is very, very common, and it's an error. We need to recognize it. That if something bad has happened to me once, we will expect that it happens over and over again. And we may say things like, I don't know why this only happens to me. Or we may also justify it with the platitudes. Once bitten, twice shy. Okay? So once bitten, so I could be bitten more than once. No problem. But twice shy, which means that my response is actually much more than what is the original stimulus. I trusted somebody, and that somebody betrayed my trust. I will never trust anybody ever again. This is a classic cognitive error. It is based on overgeneralization. Okay, so does that mean that 7 billion people on this planet, that nobody is worthy of trust? Because that's pretty much what I'm saying, that I cannot trust anybody again. Yeah. So we want to recognize this as an error. Now what I'm saying is that all of these errors, we have not chosen to think wrongly. Okay. Why do we have these errors, and therefore we want to correct it, is because I want to protect myself from further hurt. I want some needs to be met. And so a lot of these things are quite subconscious. Some of them may also be unconscious. And so if I want to deal with these things and develop a greater adhikaritvam, then I want to be more objective and be free as to the extent possible from the errors that creep in my interactions with people. The other one is jumping to conclusions. So we want to show how much we know about people, and sometimes before a person can complete a sentence, we will just jump in. Or on the basis of one or two situations, we'll say, oh, that person is so against me. Now it's a big statement to make. That person is against me. There may be some evidence for it. There may be some evidence against it. Am I objective to both sets of evidence? It's very, very important. Okay, we can proceed to the next one. Again, I mean, you're getting the sense of it. So we also exaggerate it, so exaggerate the importance of certain events. Now suppose I've made a mistake. Yeah, it's a project, and then there is this unnecessary talk about perfectionism. Only God is perfect. Okay, none of us are perfect because we have limited human bodies. If I take a stand on being the body, and so if it is limited, then anything that I do is fraught with limitation. Yeah, on the apparent face of it. So perfection is something that what I want to actually aspire to is a certain sense of excellence. Anyway, if I make a mistake, I may say, oh, I'm such a failure, I'm such a loser, I can't even do this, I can't even understand this about Vedanta. All I'm doing is I'm exaggerating it. And a lot of us, we like drama. Okay, that's why the film industry does the kind of business it does. Okay, you look at the Hindi film industry, or for that matter, all the other regional languages also alongside Hollywood. And the reason, so we enjoy drama, we enjoy theatrics, and so therefore, if we we want to introduce some drama in our own lives, and we tend to exaggerate. If it is with minor issues, no problem. But these are with respect to major beliefs in my life, and then they don't work for me. The next cognitive error that I make is personalization. So, what will people think about me? You know? So now if I have two or three more arguments with Pranav, then I will say that he's always targeting me. Or actually, even if Pranav is having a discussion with somebody else in the room, or he's laughing, looking towards me, I will say, "Oh, he's laughing at me." You know what I'm saying? So, so what I'm doing is I am personalizing what is not meant to be personal. Maybe that person is laughing for something else, but I feel that everything is directed towards me. Yeah, and that everything. So we, a lot of the times we behave that way. And it's all coming from the belief that things are being directed towards me. Okay, we can go to the next one. Yeah, this is with respect to my beliefs about life. Okay, now a lot of us, we understand the notion, the understanding of prarabdha, the idea of prarabdha, and so we may, we generally say, oh, it's my prarabdha. Why did these things happen to me, etc., etc. We rarely ever say that, oh, these wonderful things happened to me, it is my prarabdha. That means these are the series of situations and events that I was meant to go through. Um, it was only indicating a pattern of the punya and the papa playing out in terms of series of events. I still had a choice to respond to it. Yeah. So sometimes we may behave like we don't have a choice. When I feel helpless, my belief is I have no choice. And when we look at the great people in the world, or even for most of the people who are in India, even a domestic maid who comes home, to assist in the work, she is, the choice she is making frees her from the limitations of her situation. So she thinks she has a choice, and she does what she can to take care of the home or her family, whatever it is. So this conclusion that I have no choice in a situation will make me feel helpless. I cannot avoid it. And so therefore it requires a certain imagination and a certain self-understanding to be able to make an appropriate choice. Or I may say, okay, situations don't control me. I make my own destiny. And so I believe that I am responsible for the happiness of everyone around me. And so then if somebody is looking very upset, I'll say, what happened to you? Did I do something wrong? Okay. So you can see that, yeah, that a lot of my emotion is coming from my belief system. Or this other thing that, oh, I have been so good, I have done so much for so many people, but these people don't even respond. So here the error is that of fairness, that I believe that everything must be fair. This world is not fair. Okay? This world is what it is. Yeah? So we have to understand that in the right spirit. Let's go on to a few more. This also, yeah? So we find ourselves doing that in an argument. Or we want to protect ourselves from some hurt, and therefore we hold other person responsible, that it's your fault or it's all my fault. Either way, I either direct blame towards the other person or I direct it towards myself. What is the truth of the matter? The truth of the matter is that whatever has happened, suppose there is a misunderstanding, there is a disagreement, in this case, both Shalini and Pranav have contributed to the argument. Both have certain beliefs and they are arguing for their beliefs. And they are trying to make the other person see sense. Yeah. So I can also say, I can blame Pranav for not understanding me, or that, you know, in front of so many people, he uh, he spoke like that to me, and so somebody may have a response saying that, oh, I felt very humiliated. But hey, this is like really extreme. What happened about, how come you're feeling humiliated? No, because nobody should talk to me in public and argue with me. Okay? So you're getting where I'm coming from. That the more intense humiliation, the more intense emotion I'm feeling is linked to my belief. On the other hand, if I have this belief that, hey, he had a right to express his view, I had a right to express my view, we had a healthy argument, and by us arguing, we did not put the other person down. It was a mutually healthy argument. So the way I will feel because of that is that I got a bit agitated, but I'm okay now. You getting what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So it's so underhand, like the way our beliefs are so subtle, and a lot of the times we are not even conscious of it, and therefore they can hijack us if we are not conscious, if we are not vigilant. The other one big error is to do with many should statements. Yeah. So all of us, or most of us, have a rule book. It is not a published book. We don't have a publisher for this book release, but it is there in terms of how people should behave, how I should behave, how other people should be. The problem with the should statement is that it is an absolute statement. So there is no room for any condition, there are no room for options. This is how things should be. This is how gurus should be. So this is my extra superimposition. Okay. This is how an ideal Vedanta student should be. Things like that. And I will find myself, I might say, oh, I started studying Vedanta, but I'm feeling even more upset. I thought this will give me the promised fulfillment. What happened? And what you will find lurking somewhere is the should that you have placed on yourself. I should be able to progress well. I should be able to do, study all these books. I should be able to have samatvam, etc., etc. Samatvam as in more equanimity, more balance. Yeah. So, and if we really also look at our raga dveshas, yeah, our strong desires, our strong aversions, then we will also find that this must be done. So I may argue, oh, I'm okay. I'm okay with having a minimal lifestyle. I don't really need too many objects. Okay, so I may have a certain objectivity towards objects. What about people in my life? If I want people to behave differently so that I can be happy, that is a wonderful raga to deal with. Okay, so I may say, no, no, objects, no problem. But I want this person to behave like that. Only then I will be happy. And then I may also have arguments for it. I am saying it for the person's good. Arey Baba, but the person doesn't see the person's good. So then there are so many conflicts, there are so many fights. So one of the things I want to ask you all in terms of doing homework is to try and look through your major beliefs about yourself, about people in your life, about life in general, how life must be, should be, etc. And try and identify if there are any of these errors, because we want to try and correct it. We can proceed to the next few errors. Okay, this is very important. the rest, I think y'all can look at it. Emotional reasoning. I know I'm Brahman, but I don't feel it. Okay. So this is a very commonly stated thing that one hears from a lot of people. We assume that what we feel must be true. It is what Pujya Swamiji calls kitchen logic. Okay, I feel like this, therefore it is true. So feeling is fleeting. Feeling is based on my belief or my assumption, and therefore I want to try and correct it. Okay. Then is the other one, which I think in the earlier Hindi films one would see this, the fallacy of change. Oh, you love me so much, no, then at least you must change for me. Or once I marry this person, then मेरे प्यार से मैं इसको बदल दूंगी. I will change this person with my love. Okay. So it's an error. Huh? So if I believe that, then obviously it is not only an uphill task, it is a task that will not be fully accomplished. Because the person will change when the person has to, when the person wants to. But if I have set myself up for this project of changing another person, then I'm going to be disappointed. Okay, it's what Pujya Swamiji has often said, that when he did his first course, when he started teaching, he thought that he would change everybody, and in 3 months time he realized that the only one who changed was himself, in terms of his response to his students and how he engaged them. He said nobody has changed, but I know for sure that I changed. And if Pujya Swamiji can say this, then it is a lesson for us that we focus on our change. Yeah, whatever we need, we can communicate what perhaps needs to be done and make suggestions to people around us. But to expect people to change, even if it is for their better, we have to leave it to them. Just like I wouldn't want anybody to tell me what to do, how to do, when to do, etc., etc. Because I would like to think that I'm reasonably objective and a rational person. Likewise, the other person may also not want it. Yeah. Global labeling is quite straightforward. It's simple. We can go to the next slide. So now the question is that some of us may have identified some of the errors we make in our thinking, and also recognizing that we want to move towards more objectivity. Yeah,
Swaminiji, I have a question here.
please.
It's like, in a given situation, I know that something is correct.
Okay.
However, the other person may know or may not know, that part I don't know, okay?
Okay.
But how do I correct him? Or rather, his behavior tells me that he is not behaving according to the situation.
Right.
In these scenarios, how do we correct him?
Yeah.
Especially work-related boss. Suppose your boss, it is your boss.
Okay. So now here you want to say something like, I want to share some information with you, or I want to make a suggestion. Okay.
Okay.
And you go ahead with presenting information objectively. And you say that if something like this is done, then these are the likely consequences. You point it out. And you also want to show respect to your boss and not make him defensive. And so you say that, this is my view, or in my perception, like I recognize the need for these kind of inputs, and ask him what his view is about what you have shared. See, a lot of the times we have conflicts in our relationships because we don't engage in dialogue. I present my position and I expect that the other person will accept my position. I rarely ever say, in my perception, this is my position, whatever you state the position, and these are the facts for it, and asking the person, what do you think about it? because I really behave like Queen of Sheba. You know that game we used to play in childhood. So Queen of Sheba declares this needs to be done. So everybody will run. So if Queen of Sheba says, okay, 5 stones have to be picked up from the garden, then all the other people will run to pick up the stones from the garden. And then you'll say, oh, Queen of Sheba is happy. Okay. So sometimes we behave like that. I want to, especially in a conflict situation, I want to engage in dialogue. Because what is my focus? My focus is on a solution that is helpful to me and helpful to the other person. So I present my position and I ask the person for his or her view. And if the person says that no, I don't agree with it, this, that, the other, then you focus on the specifics, at which aspect you don't agree with, you know, and you keep focused on facts rather than accusing or blaming, or no, you're not looking at it like the way I am looking at it, etc., etc. We don't need to become precious about our position. Okay, it's a certain view, you're stating it, he or she still has a right to his or her view. That person will also state. And the most helpful question to focus on, and in fact say it, is what will move us forward in the conversation, or what is it that will be helpful for us to do. You know, so in the Gita, as well as in a large, to a great extent, when we are talking about swakarma, swadharma, we focus on what needs to be done. And so therefore, I found it very helpful in my professional work life earlier to always ask in conflict situations what needs to be done here. It's not about me, it's not about you. What needs to be done here so that we can move the process forward? By asking this question, what I'm doing is I'm invoking the person to be objective. I'm invoking that person to focus on facts of the matter. Yes? Make sense?
Swamini ji,
Yes?
I understand this when it comes to relationship between grown-ups.
Yes.
But does the same principle apply when we're dealing with children? I mean, do we just tell them once and leave it to them
See,
to
with
either
children,
follow it or not?
what I have found works brilliantly with children is pointing out action and consequences. So one doesn't declare that, oh, you have to do this. You want to add to it that by doing this, this is what will happen. Either you will gain this, or I will be happy, or uh, it would be good for the surrounding, for the situation, whatever it is, as it applies. You want to point out action and consequences very often to children. Otherwise, see, in childhood it can work, because I'll say, mummy says it needs to be done, or nani or dadi says it needs to be done, so it needs to be done. So there will be some sort of obedience. But the same thing will not apply in teenage years at all. Okay,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that form of discipline will not work. In fact, it will totally boomerang, and the child will struggle to discover his or her own identity, and there'll be a lot of rebellion issues. Okay, so we
yes.
do what is appropriate to the situation. Yeah. So I just want to quickly run through 1 or 2 more slides, I think, and then we will look at all the various situations. We are okay to go for another 15 minutes?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
And one more thing, Unnati ji, are we getting these presentations in our personal email so that
Well, you will be,
whenever we need?
yes, definitely. So you will be getting it on the Facebook group, which is the Mix and Satsanga with Swamini ji. So I'll
Okay.
be posting over there.
Sure. Because I'm sure we'll be needing it
Yes.
quite often, just not for one day.
Yeah. So,
Too
having
much to
said all
handle.
this, I want to say something that, see, the mind is not a problem, okay? And we want to change our equation with our own mind. It's it's a little bit like this. Suppose by mistake, while I'm chewing food, I bite my tongue. Okay? I bite my tongue. Now, nobody wants to bite their tongue deliberately. I don't start in my head shouting at the tongue, how dare you come when I am chewing food? Do you not know you're supposed to be in your place? You're supposed to behave. You're not supposed to come when I am chewing food. Unnecessarily, you are getting hurt. And now I am in so much pain. Okay? So, this is a little dramatic version of what we are doing with our mind. The mind, unfortunately, becomes the whipping boy of a lot of psychology and spirituality, also in some circles. Now, we want to recognize the glory of the human mind. Okay? It is a vibhuti, it is a glory. The fact that we can know anything is because of the mind. Okay? It is a gift. And what we want to try and do is to live in Ishvara Srishti, to live in a world where we can be objective. And emotions go with the territory. It is emotions that make us closer to another person. It is emotions that, see, if I'm a clinical researcher and I'm talking to my colleague, if I share my emotions, I'm a little anxious today, or I'm really excited about our project, there will be greater bonding. So the relationships become closer because we share emotions. And so emotions are also not bad. Emotions are not something to be tamed. Okay? Yes, it is true we talk about mastery of emotions, but mastery of emotions, like I was saying earlier, does not happen at the emotional level. It happens at the cognitive level. Okay? And even Vedanta is a cognitive change. So if I take care of all the errors at a relative level, then the cognitive shift is easy to make. It's like this. Suppose now, it's summer season in Bombay, and I'll say that, oh, there is very nice curry ka achar. So, raw mango ka pickle. Okay. Now, the moment I say I have some raw mango pickle to share with you, um, I want you to report, at least some of you, in terms of what is happening in your mouth.
Oh,
You will find
I'm drooling.
exactly. So it is just a thought. Okay, the thought has come to you as somebody's words, but that thought has created a physiological reaction of salivating, or in this matter, drooling. Okay, and there may also be a feeling that I look forward to having this achar, this pickle. So we want to recognize that we are essentially cognitive beings. And as cognitive beings, the way I see things depends on the way I think about it, depends on my beliefs, my assumptions. My assumptions lead me to feeling in particular ways, and that also has a physiological reaction on my body. Okay, in this particular case, it was salivating. Or if I'm very angry, then my fists are clenched. I want to do something with it, but decency demands that I don't. I try and show little dhamma in my interactions. Okay, having said that, that we want to develop a harmonious relationship with our mind. So just like a mother embraces her child, whether the child is cranky or irritable or excited or whatever it is, we want to have that kind of an attitude with one's own mind, with oneself. Okay, so anything that is harsh in terms of the way I talk to myself, I want to replace it with being an inner friend. So what does a friend do? A friend is caring, a friend is affectionate, a friend accepts you unconditionally. Okay, and that's exactly how we want to replace all our negative self-talk with friendly talk. So therefore, even in the context of meditation, I may say, oh, my mind is just it's going going all over the place. Well, the mind is supposed to go all over the place. Okay, that is the nature of the mind. So, we don't have a problem with that. So we want to cultivate being friendly to ourselves, which includes our mind. The second thing we want to do is first we identify what kind of error we really have. Once we identify the error, whether it's personalization or exaggeration or whatever it is, with respect to myself, with respect to a person with whom I'm having a conflict, or with respect to God. Oh, God only answers other people's prayers, but even this Kataksha Kirana, that, even a glance doesn't look at me. Okay? So that's also my belief about God, okay, based on some evidence. So the next thing we want to do is we want to examine what is real. And here I'm talking about functioning reality. Okay? I'm not talking yet about the absolute reality. I'm talking about functioning reality. What are the facts of the matter? Does it justify me holding this belief? Okay? We go to the next slide. Now, there may have been a book called 50 Shades of Grey. I don't know the contents, and neither do I want to know. We want to develop this habit of thinking in shades of gray. Okay, so that rather than saying, oh, this is not working, so I want to say, hey, what is working and what is not working? I want to be able to look at all the aspects of a particular situation. Even when it comes to me understanding kaushalam or the understanding of karma yoga, for me to develop kaushalam, effectiveness in my actions, I have to be able to understand a situation in its entirety. So one thing I may say that, it's not always possible to understand a situation completely. True. But that cannot prevent me from taking a decision. Because if I might say that, oh, I don't want to take a decision until I have all the information. There will never be a time that we will have all the information. It's like before an arranged marriage. There is some information available about the other person. Okay? You have to draw the line saying it's good enough for now. If I say, no, I have to know this person completely, then you will wait for another 20 years, and by then it either may be too late, or in many words, you're already married to the person. Okay? Because you're trying to discover more about the other person. So we want to be able to think uh, about a situation entirely, also be able to evaluate it objectively. Suppose if I find that I have certain beliefs and I have certain notions that bother me, and I may argue saying that no, I am very objective, I'm very realistic, then what I want to do is check with one or two close friends. Just to make sure that I am focused on the reality of the situation, I'm focused on the facts of the matter. I encourage checking with one or two other people, asking them what their views are. The other thing is that, we like to label ourselves because we want a little more certainty in life. So if I say, oh, I've been such a loser, I want to be able to define it. Because then the more I define it, loser means to be dash, 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 I will find that they don't really hold. And it's really talking about that specific behavior. So suppose if I say that Pranav is a very badly behaved man, suppose. So then I'll say, okay, what does badly behaved mean to me? Badly behaved means to me that he needs to hear the other part of the argument. Okay? But he does not listen to the other part of the argument. So what I find is that if I define it, then I will find that I'm really focusing only on a particular behavior. I am not condemning the whole person. Okay? Next. I've spoken about 7. The 8th is that if I continue to feel upset, if I continue to hold these beliefs, is it helping me or is it not? And this is very important because a lot of the times we have what is called a pain identity. I feel justified in having a lot of pain in my life because of what was done to me. And I feel that if I let this identity go, then I have nothing to fight for. I lose my, I lose a certain mission of my life. Okay, so we want to examine why we hold on to certain assumptions, although they are not helpful to us. And if it's not helpful to us, then I have to tell myself to stop. It's like this really nice phrase I heard, which said that if you don't like where you are, move. You are not a tree. If you don't like where you are, move. You are not a tree. So it's a good reminder for us to not feel really helpless with respect to our choices. Okay, last one. Last slide, I think. Let's just check. Okay, this is just an example which you all can look at, and I just want to conclude with the slide after this. So what we started this session to discover emotional balance, and we thought that we can fix our emotions, try and reduce the intensity, try and reduce frequency, be able to recover better from emotions. And what we are clearly seeing, or at least beginning to see, is the connection between my thoughts and the way I see a situation. So my emphasis on Viveka is because I am a student of Vedanta. I value objectivity, and therefore I have a commitment to thinking clearly. Okay? So understand this. It's not that, oh, it would be nice to be objective. You know, I'm not talking about what is nice to do. If my commitment is to being objective, then there are no excuses. I do whatever it takes to be objective. If it means I have to challenge some errors that have creeped into my life, no problem. Okay? Some of the errors that may be there, in the way in which I approach situations or people, um, may be very deep rooted. Like, the striations on when a river flows on stones. Okay, we may have seen in a riverbed. There are certain patterns that are made on the stone. Okay, so some very nice, very interesting patterns because of the flow of the river, the momentum. And some of our thoughts are like that. Okay, so they are very deep rooted, and there are, very deep patterns there. And some of our thoughts are like the what you may scribble on sand. Okay, so it lasts for some time. Then when the waves come, they wash off what was there on the sand. So they last for a while, and they serve their purpose perhaps, and then they go away. And then some of the errors that we make, if it is like writing in water, okay, so writing in water obviously doesn't show any pattern. As you write, it is wiped out. So we want to be as vigilant as that if we find errors creeping in our thinking, we are objective to reality, we are objective to facts. We are objective, and we see we are in touch with Ishvara Srishti. Not Jiva Srishti, because I'm trying to harmonize what is my world with what is Ishvara's world. So if this is my approach, then emotions are a great glory. They have their dance, they come, they go. All the emotions that feel natural to me, I will very spontaneously embrace them, and they will become a very spontaneous expression of me. I don't have to work myself up into feeling more compassionate or motivating myself if my priorities are clear. And this is a very important part of self-growth, this emotional balance. So the more objectivity I discover in my life, the more emotional balance there will be. Okay, so now I can take a few more questions. It's already 9:26. So maybe we can do another 10 minutes if people are okay with it. Um, so everybody is very quiet. No questions or reflections or
Very intense
homework. Okay,
session.
so I'm sure the homework is clear to you. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a very
So,
intense session actually.
Yes. Yes.
Swamiji, in continuation with the previous question I had asked,
Yes.
it's the same like in a business conversation, no? Supposingly, I place my facts across in the conversation
Yes.
to the other person,
Mm-hmm.
but he is not willing to budge, you know, and
Okay.
then we are not able to come to some common terms. Then
Okay.
how do you resolve things in this kind of a situation?
Okay. So now, what is your objective actually? Like, you want him to change his mind, or you want a solution that will work for the company?
Um, Actually, both I would say, no, a little bit of changing in mind, and in turn, if he changes his mind, it will definitely benefit the company.
Okay. So now, you've you've asked him what is it that what more information does he need to take a decision. So you presented certain facts,
Okay.
and he's not convinced.
Mm-hmm.
Do you then ask him what other information he requires?
Okay.
So, because the point is that, see, if I am not able to see something that you are saying, you have to first deal with your anxiety of trying to change him, because you're just ending up feeling really frustrated. I am presenting all the facts. Why is it that the person is not getting what I'm saying? Okay. So you need to deal with your anxiety separately, that, hey, we want to do what is best for the company. We want to focus on what needs to be done. And so therefore, you present certain facts and you check with the person. Um, in my view, this is what I have presented so far.
Okay.
Whereas my research is limited, I would like to know what other information you require so that we are able to proceed with whatever decisions we need to make. So, what you are showing is your openness. You are showing that you are not there to change him, okay? Because he is your boss. So, he will resist being changed by a subordinate, okay?
Right.
Unless he's a very progressive boss.
Yeah.
When he's focused on good ideas, it doesn't matter, it comes from anybody. So you will find very few such progressive bosses. So now he doesn't want to admit that he is wrong, or he's seeing the situation in a limited way. You allow him to save face. This is very important. And you check with him what other information he needs. And you can also state that I don't feel I'm doing a good job in presenting the facts of the matter, because it seems like um, the views are still very different on this. Yeah. It's
Okay.
also possible that you may be perceived as being aggressive. I'm just stating a possibility. Okay. And so the other person becomes very defensive and just doesn't want to budge. So you may want to check both. See, you may be very good at presenting facts and figures, but if the other person perceives you to be aggressive and to try, somebody who's trying to change his mind, he may say, "Arey yaar, she's my subordinate, you know, why is she trying to change my mind? Why is she telling me what needs to be done?" You
Mm-hmm.
getting what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to look at both aspects,
Mm-hmm.
and always in a conversation, we want to focus on a dialogue. Okay. A lot of the times we can't handle intensity of emotion, and so sometimes the way we state it is with a lot of force. We don't want to appear aggressive, but it appears that we are being aggressive. Immediately the other person will shut down, so we don't want to do that. Yeah. So you always ask the person, what are your thoughts about what I am saying? Check, and be open to it. Huh? This is also important. You be open to what the other person is saying. So not like Arnab Goswami, if any of you all watch news, sometimes he may ask a question, but he will not allow the person to even complete like half of the sentence.
I want to add something, Swaminiji. I
Yes.
mean, very funny thing. When we were having this, I mean, you can say hot discussion, and at the end, what he said is like when we were done and we were happy and laughing because we were done with our that thing. He said, "Okay, next time we'll come with some other, and Shalini will be in, another Arnab Goswami." Because she doesn't let me do. Then Charul, I mean, his wife said, "You know what? You both are Arnab Goswami. You both are mirror image of your."
Nice. Yeah.
So yeah, this is what it is. Arnab Goswami is like that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but again, it's our perception because we haven't seen his other side.
So he has a wonderful side to him. You know, the way he takes up causes and everything. There is something quite admirable about that.
Yes. And so this Pranav, I mean, he's a very nice person. I mean, I can feel it since he owns a company here, and some of my other friends who were there, they work for him, for his
Right.
company. So they were
Right.
not in like argument with him because since he's the like boss of the company, right? But since I am not in that relationship, I am in the relationship of friendship. So
Yes.
I can have my views and I can say it openly.
Yeah.
So,
That's
but
right.
yes, I do agree that sometimes, not, I mean, not sometimes, most of the times, I do get aggressive when I'm talking. Like, I feel like right now also when I'm talking, I'm a little bit aggressive. So, I want to work on that because this is something which I'm lacking. If I have so many positive or good things, but this is something which I'm not very satisfied. I don't want to say that happy or unhappy, but
Yeah.
this is, I don't feel this is a very good quality.
Yeah. So
Being
what we
aggressive
want to
all the
try and
time.
do, Shalini, is that for some of us who are aggressive, we want to always keep mutual respect in mind.
Mhm.
Would I like
Right.
the other person to treat me in that way? You know, that's an important question to consider. And
Right.
and so we want to move to being assertive, that we respect our own rights, we
Mhm.
respect the other person's rights as well.
Right.
It's not that I respect only my rights and I don't respect the other person's rights, nor
Mhm.
is it that I respect the other person's rights and I become a doormat. Okay?
Right.
Either
Right.
of the two is not in line with dharma. I
It's
respect both rights, and therefore I have a right to my view, the other person has a right to his or her view, and we can choose to have a conversation without getting too agitated,
right.
without feeling attacked. Because if I'm feeling attacked all the time, then clearly um it is possible that an error operating here of personalization. That
Mhm.
whatever I say, people attack me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
again, it could be an error. We want to look at it, and if it's something that you want to work on, we can have a one-on-one and we can do some practice related to it.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, I want to just check with other people. Any questions? Any thoughts? Any clarifications? Or you're okay with the homework? So now, let me state again very clearly. Um, I want us to be able to look at our life, look at some of the disturbing situations that are currently operating. Okay, I don't want 20 years ago what happened, but currently what is operating. If there are conflicts and I'm upset about it, I want to be able to identify the errors that may be operating in my thinking, and how to correct it. Also, I want you all to make that step. Okay. So write up your responses, and if you want to share it publicly, that's fine. You can do it on that Facebook page, or you can send it to me by email, and then I will respond. Do you think Wednesday is good for you? By Wednesday evening, is that good for you to work on this? Pick up just 2 or 4 conflict situations. Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, that's right. Yes. So is that a yes from everybody, or is that a maybe from somebody?
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, it's fine. We
Yes.
can
Fine
do
for
that.
everybody. So anytime before Wednesday is good. But by Wednesday end of day, is when I would expect the last set of responses to come in. For those who are watching this, also in case they want to do that, they can also send in their responses, and then I can reply to them personally. Okay, so we'll close. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah,
Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah,
Sarve Santu Niramayah,
Sarve Santu Niramayah,
Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu,
Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu,
Ma Kaschit
Ma Kaschit
Dukha Bhag Bhavet.
Dukha Bhavet.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Om Shri Guru Namaha. Hari Om.
So thank you all for this session.
Thank you, Swamini ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Swamiji.
I'll stay back in case there are any other questions.